The storm rolled across the Texas sky the same night Richard Holloway died. Thunder rattled the windows of the massive family ranch while cold rain pounded the earth like fists. Lightning flashed over the long gravel driveway, briefly illuminating the mansion Richard had spent 40 years building from nothing. Inside the house, grief mixed with tension. Some people cried. Others pretended to. Family members filled the living room dressed in black, whispering in corners while expensive wine sat untouched on silver trays. Near the fireplace, covered respectfully with a white sheet before the funeral home arrived, lay the body of the man who once ruled the Holloway family like a king. Richard Holloway had built an empire. All investments, real estate, hotels, ranches. He was the kind of man business magazines called self-made. Born poor in a trailer park outside Dallas, Richard had clawed his way to wealth through ruthless determination. But wealth changes families, sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once. 3 days after the funeral, the Holloways gathered for the reading of the will. Nobody said it openly, but everyone came for the same reason: money. At the head of the room sat attorney Michael Grayson, Richard's longtime lawyer. Beside him sat Victoria Holloway, Richard's second wife, elegant in black silk, her expression carefully crafted between sorrow and control. Then there were the children. Ethan Holloway, the oldest son, sharp-jawed and arrogant, already acting like the new head of the family. Claire Holloway, the glamorous daughter who lived in Los Angeles and rarely visited unless cameras or inheritance were involved. Logan Holloway, Victoria's spoiled 24-year-old son who spent more time partying than working. And finally, there was Lily, quiet Lily Holloway, the invisible daughter. She sat near the far window wearing a simple gray sweater while everyone else wore designer black clothing. Nobody paid much attention to her. Nobody ever did. For the past 5 years, while the others lived their glamorous lives, Lily had stayed behind caring for Richard during his illness. When cancer weakened him, she stayed. When chemotherapy left him vomiting through the night, she cleaned him up. When he lost the ability to walk properly, she carried him. She missed birthdays, relationships, and career opportunities because somebody had to be there for him. The others visited occasionally, mostly for appearances. Deep down, Lily already knew she would inherit the least. That was simply her place in the family. Attorney Grayson unfolded the will carefully. Richard Holloway's final testament, he announced. The room fell silent instantly. To my eldest son, Ethan, I leave ownership of Holloway Energy and the downtown Dallas penthouse. Ethan smirked confidently. Claire crossed her arms impatiently. To my daughter Claire, I leave the Beverly Hills property and my shares in Holloway Hotels. Claire relaxed immediately with satisfaction. To Logan Holloway, I leave the Aspen Vacation Lodge and my ranch properties in Montana. Victoria smiled proudly. Then came the pause. Everyone looked toward Lily. Attorney Grayson adjusted his glasses. To my daughter Lily Holloway. For the first time, Lily looked up. I leave my personal Bible and the old guest house behind Steedy Mark's church. Silence. Then came the laughter. Claire laughed first. A Bible? She scoffed. Even Logan burst into amusement. Ethan shook his head slowly. Dad really forgot about her. Victoria hid a small smile behind her hand. But Lily said nothing. Not a word. She simply lowered her eyes and held the old leather Bible closer to her chest. The meeting ended shortly afterward. And that was when greed truly entered the Holloway family. Within weeks, the family began tearing itself apart. Ethan started selling company assets behind everyone's backs. Claire demanded immediate access to trust accounts. Logan borrowed enormous amounts of money using the Montana properties as leverage. Every phone call became an argument. Every meeting ended with threats. Lawyers became regular visitors. Soon the Holloway name, once respected, became tangled in lawsuits and gossip columns. Meanwhile, Lily quietly moved into the small guest house behind the old church. The house was tiny. The roof leaked when it rained. The kitchen barely worked. But Lily never complained. She found work at a small bookstore nearby and spent most evenings alone reading or helping around the church. People whispered about her. Poor Lily. She got nothing. Her father must not have loved her. Still, she stayed quiet. Because before Richard died, He had whispered something strange to her from his hospital bed. Not everything valuable looks valuable. At the time, she didn't understand what he meant. Until one stormy night months later, the electricity had gone out. Rain hammered the roof while Lily sat beside a candle flipping through the old Bible her father had left her. That was when she noticed handwritten notes in the margins. At first they looked random. Then she realized they were references, page numbers, coordinates, hidden instructions. Confused, she followed them carefully. Tucked deep inside the back cover was a sealed envelope. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside were legal documents, bank information, property deeds, and a handwritten letter. Lily's breathing nearly stopped. She unfolded the letter slowly. "My dearest Lily," it began. "If you are reading this, then I'm gone. I owe you an apology. You gave me love when everyone else only saw my money." Tears filled her eyes immediately. The letter continued. "The inheritance publicly announced was only part of my estate. The real fortune was hidden because I needed to know who truly cared about family and who cared only about wealth." Inside the envelope were documents proving ownership of several undeveloped properties near a massive upcoming tech expansion project outside Austin. The land was worth millions. There were private investment accounts, hidden stock portfolios, offshore savings, enough to make Lily wealthier than the rest of the family combined. At the bottom of the letter, Richard had written one final sentence. "Don't let money turn your heart into theirs." Lily cried quietly for nearly an hour. Not because of the fortune, but because for the first time in her life, her father had truly seen her. The following year changed everything. While Ethan drowned Holloway energy in lawsuits and debt, Lily quietly hired financial advisors and lawyers. When the Austin tech expansion officially launched, the value of her hidden properties exploded. Developers offered unimaginable amounts. Within months, Lily became one of the wealthiest women in the state. But unlike the others, money didn't change her. She donated to hospitals, rebuilt shelters, paid medical bills for struggling families anonymously. She even secretly covered some of Richard's unpaid debts nobody knew existed. People started talking. How did Lily suddenly become rich? She manipulated Richard. She tricked him. Jealousy spread quickly through the Holloway family, especially Ethan. His company eventually collapsed after federal investigations uncovered financial fraud. Claire lost her luxury mansion after reckless spending. Logan developed a gambling addiction and nearly lost everything. Then one by one, they came to Lily asking for help. Ethan showed up first. The once powerful businessman now looked exhausted and desperate. "I need a loan," he admitted quietly. Claire came days later pretending it was just temporary. Even Victoria visited eventually, suddenly acting warm and motherly. Lily listened to all of them calmly. None truly apologized. Not yet. But she still helped them. One evening after they left, Lily sat outside the little church house watching the sunset spread orange across the Texas sky. Pastor Raymond sat beside her quietly. "Your father would be proud of you," he said. Lily stared at the horizon. "Sometimes I still feel angry," she admitted softly. "That's normal. They treated me like I didn't matter." The pastor nodded slowly. "Greed blinds people. It makes them value possessions more than people." Lily looked down thoughtfully. Maybe that's the real poverty. But greed rarely disappears peacefully. Months later, Ethan discovered rumors about the hidden inheritance. Furious, he stormed into Lily's property with Claire and Logan behind him. "You lied to us," Ethan shouted. Neighbors watched from nearby houses. Lily remained calm. "The will was legal. You manipulated Dad." "No," Lily replied quietly. "Dad made his own choices." Claire stepped forward angrily. "You acted innocent while stealing everything." The words hit deep. Years of rejection rushed back into Lily's chest. But she steadied herself. "For 5 years," she said softly, "where were all of you when Dad couldn't even stand up?" Nobody answered. When he cried in pain at 2 in the morning, where were you? Silence. When doctors said his cancer was getting worse, where were you? Logan lowered his eyes. Ethan clenched his jaw. Lily's voice finally cracked. "You abandoned him because he stopped being useful to you." The air became painfully quiet. Then she continued, "I never stayed because of money. I stayed because he was my father." Those words shattered something inside them, especially Ethan. For the first time, guilt appeared in his eyes. Real guilt. Suddenly he remembered the ignored calls, the cancelled visits, the excuses. Greed had stolen years from their family, and now those years were gone forever. Then tragedy struck again. Late one night, Logan crashed his sports car while driving drunk outside Houston. The injuries were severe. At the hospital, doctors urgently needed a blood donor. Ironically, the only immediate match was Lily. Without hesitation, she donated. When Logan woke up days later and learned what happened, he broke down crying. "After everything I did to you," Lily simply replied, "You're still my brother." That moment changed everything. Not overnight, but slowly. Ethan began rebuilding honestly. Claire abandoned the fake Hollywood lifestyle and reconnected with the family. Even Victoria softened with age and regret. Years later, every anniversary of Richard Holloway's death became something different. Not a battle over money, but a family dinner. Stories, laughter, memories. One evening, Ethan sat beside Lily outside the old church house. "You know," he said quietly, "Dad was smarter than all of us." Lily smiled faintly. He knew greed would expose who we really were. Ethan nodded, and he knew kindness would outlive money. The church bells rang softly in the distance while warm wind moved through the trees. And for the first time in years, the Holloway family finally understood the lesson Richard Holloway left behind. Greed can destroy even the richest family. But love can rebuild what money never could.